Oh my fucking God, have you seen this one little tick go down? We're going to tell you what it means, and we're going to tell you why the sky is not melting down because this one little tick went down. Coming to you live from a secret location in the gulags, sound proved to be undiscoverable somewhere in Phuket. It's called Homa, but it's undiscoverable. Very secret. I came down here to get endoscopy done. And, when you got to be gagging on some shit, you got to be in a secret location, as they say. Maybe we're going to introduce you to who, maybe there's an index we're going to introduce you to people who gag on things. This will all make sense somewhere down the road. What's going on in the world? What's going on, Sam? Do we buy now? Well, let's see what's going on. First of all, our base case of the framework is that when the business cycle go up, altcoin make more money and risk go up. When the business cycle go down, then less money maker and more crashy. You get the idea. So this is touchscreen, so I'm going to be messing with it like that today. That's going to be annoying. That's going to get annoying real quick, I bet. You get the idea. This is the ISM, okay? It's like my name spelled wrong. Sim spelled ISM. I don't know why. Who did that? Off of their heads. It's going down. It was at 49. Now it's at 48. That means risk assets should underperform risky assets. That makes sense, right? Risk assets should underperform safe assets. So when you're looking at the volatility of the bond market, so one thing I'm doing today is we're going to zoom out and we're going to look at things on the weekly scale. Because I think getting a little too zoomed in can fuck with you a bit. So especially in these kind of big moves, you have to position them according to history. So this is the volatility index on the bond market. The weekly move is almost nothing. The daily move is significant. We're going to take a look at it. Now, one thing we're noticing is the Bitcoin volatility is diverging from traditional volatility. So BVol, as you can see, didn't make much of a move. This is the kind of updated viewpoint on it. It's actually really suppressed compared to its historical norm. While VIX popped off. Is fucking popping off, mate. Is fucking popping off. In this case, the VIX is what we've been waiting for all this time to do something. So looking at it from the kind of chart that we look at, this was a trend that it had been making for a long time on the weekly. This was the April 7th Katana that we caught, and then months and months and months, things are pumping. This is a thing to also understand, that when the VIX is dropping like this, that is the time to actually be in the markets and make money, because as volatility goes down, usually that's a slog upwards in the crypto markets, as we always see. So now, all of a sudden, like we said, something super volatile should happen and volatility should pop. Now, we just had this couple days worth of pop, and that's been significant. A lot of people are freaking out. That's why I thought I'd make this video from the gulags. It is returning back above a trend that I had been following before. Usually when this kind of curvature is happening, in history, what you'll notice is, if you take a look at, let's say, the weekly, it kind of goes through waves, right? There's increases, there's decreases, and there's increases, there's decreases. And it kind of goes through its own volatility flow waves. And I think another one of those is just forming here. So now we had this wave, we've had this pump. Now we're kind of seeing the first leg of the next leg form, or the next third of this form, basically, which I think the bigger dump will be closer to October. Right now is just the beginning of it. No. The key thing there is when we're looking at the volatility, there's two volatilities. This is the global volatility, which is capital.com. This is the regular volatility. So TVC volatility is the regular volatility. And the capital.com volatility includes more of the global markets. So either way, you're seeing both of them go down and kind of show up underneath the trend. Now, that could be a rejection of the trend, which isn't out of the ordinary for this part of the cycle where we see this V recovery and then there's these kind of quick little drops that shake people out before the train leaves again. That is a very real possibility that could be happening now. I wouldn't be surprised. And so let's see. Basically, this spike in volatility, this daily spike in volatility, it's huge. Yet Bitcoin, it's reacted, but it hasn't gone catastrophic, right? But the move on the bonds is, oh my God, ma, look at the bonds, ma. Look at the move on the bonds, ma. Like, look at the size of this candle. You know, they say, like I've said before, my trainer in trading would say, you would look at a chart and if you are walking on a street and you see a dog so big that you turn to whoever's next to you and you go, oh my God, look at the size of that dog. If the dog is so big that you have to turn to somebody and go, holy shit, look at the size of that dog, that is a big dog and that is a big move candle, right? So in this, holy shit, look at the size of this dog, and holy shit, look at the size of this dog. So basically this candle, relatively speaking, is huge. That's a daily candle. That kind of a move on the 10-year, and then this kind of a move on the 2-year, we're going from 4% to 3.68%. I mean, you guys don't understand. This is world melting type shit moves. This is like, oh my God, maximum crisis, fucking Trump crashing world, all that good stuff type shit. Other people call it bad shit. We call it good shit because we're buying it. But anyways, that kind of move happening on a Friday, and then we're sitting here on a weekend. I let this play out. I let this at least, go to a certain place. So now, just looking at the metrics on everything, look at how depressed Bitcoin's momentum, and this is the hybrid indicator, so it's everything combined. Look at how depressed it was. I really thought about selling Bitcoin here, for sure. But at the same time, I know at this point, the riskiest thing to do is bet against Bitcoin, because this thing will outsmart your dumbass always. Okay, so like, instead of selling Bitcoin, I'm like, let me just sit in Bitcoin and we're going to trade out of the pairs, and that's what we're going to look at today. And you can add it. It's the fucking secret. Okay. But in the meantime, this kind of volatility is juicy. It's juicy. I like this kind of volatility. Okay, so dollar moving, whatever. Let's just, like stocks, I haven't put onto the fibs for some time. So we're just going to turn on the fibs and we're going to look at stocks. Okay, well, that's what it's doing. New York Stock Composite. S&P is basically doing the same thing, riding the blue fib. So again, it could drop as low as whatever, 5,000 and still be on trend. It's been doing that for a long time. So we're going to go to the weekly here. Look at that. I mean, just fucking look at that. What do you think it's going to do? It's just going to continue to climb on the blue fib. And NASDAQ, same thing. I mean, it's topping out now. Okay, so this is the important bit. That's the long-term perspective, but the zoomed-in perspective is this, that it looks like it's topping out now. The momentum has set it for some time, but these things can keep going way further than all of us expect, because all of us are fucking retards. Okay, let's just actually unaccept part of it. I just say the quiet part out loud. In words we're not supposed to say anymore. So this is the S&P. It has looked toppy for some period of time. Now it's kind of playing out. Let's see how that goes. NASDAQ, same thing. SMH, same thing. Basically, all the markets look a little toppy. Now, what that's saying is, let's wait. Because my thing was, okay, we nailed the expectation of this volatility here, right? Nailed it. Now, we're going to do this, right? We nailed this volatility. Yeah, I love that. Gotta start doing that more often. Green. Yeah, let's do green. Okay. So we nailed this part. Yeah. Can I draw with my finger? This is cool. No. Sorry, guys. I'm messing around with this on camera. Okay. Anyways, we nailed this down part of the volatility because we saw it coming from liquidity, right? Now, liquidity didn't show very much on the other side. What liquidity did show is this pump. And I just, in this case, it went much further than expected because liquidity showed kind of these waves first to go like this, but this. Now, this process, I want you to look at it closely. I want you to look at this price action. And then I want you to look at, let's say this price action back here. Like a lot of these kind of V recoveries and things are volatility control mechanisms that are built into the markets. Okay. Put your tinfoil hat on. We're going to explain you something you might not know. The markets, after all of these kind of flash crashes and stuff, became fully controlled through algorithms. We've known that for a long time. But then there are volatility control mechanisms built into the markets that can create these kind of very low volatility conditions and trade the market this size between this tight of a range this closely and defy gravity for this long. This is all part of the process of how the markets are built nowadays. This gives investors the ability to exit. Also, there's 1,000 things. But the point is, we called this downwards trajectory, right? We called this part. On this side, I under-expected the volatility of how high it could go. Now that it's dumping, I don't want to under-expect the volatility of how low it could go. Okay? I don't want to over-expect it. I don't want to under-expect it. I don't want to expect it. I just want to let it be and expect that anything is possible. And then from there, make decisions of, what to do. Now, could this just go a little bit lower? Sure. Could this just do this and then shoot off to the moon? Sure. Could this just drop off of a cliff? Sure, but unlikely with the kind of momentum that exists on the markets. Okay. So if anything, this is just a kind of an opportunity for us to do stuff. Ooh, I can draw stuff from my face. Cool. Look at my glasses. Look at my blue blockers. You like my blue blockers, son? We're blocking that blue, huh? We're blocking blue. I can't believe you guys fucking listen to me. It's actually hilarious how much money gets moved because of what I say. I tell you not to do it, but you still do it. That's fucked up. What were we talking about again? Right. So much volatility happening in the world. Now, Bitcoin is very resilient in this time because Bitcoin's volatility is very, I don't want to say uncorrelated, but very, the correlation is much lower than it normally is. If anything, it's the canary in the coal mine that's kind of signaling ahead of time what's going to happen. So if Bitcoin has dropped off a bit of a ledge and gone down and found some support, I expect the stock market to do the same. It used to be that the stock market would be what Bitcoin follows. Now it's the stock market follows what Bitcoin does. Because it's, the way I think about it is, I think in the same way that we look at waves of liquidity going out and coming back in, something like Bitcoin is slightly riskier down the curve. So it would actually have its wave go down and that capital would return to the safer end of the pool. And then something like stocks would react. So that kind of makes sense in that perspective of looking at things. I just know that there's this high volatility event and that's where our katanas would get caught. Now, the thing that's happened though is Bitcoin has caused a kind of selective altcoin season, right? So you have to kind of go Bitcoin, solid coins, or a lot of people call them dino coins, and altcoins. So the dino coins are old coins that have been there for a long time. They have a huge use case, and they've gone along for this ride. And then there's the Solanas of the Swedes of the world who've been outliers. So there's been this bifurcation or this separation between Bitcoin and solid assets and everything else. So that's causing one of the first times in history such a discount between the things that if you've been holding one of the solid assets like Bitcoin, even Ethereum now, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, all of these solid ones, BNB is at an all-time high. you can now swap out of those trades to really crush it in these games. You could, as in like you, the hypothetical, you fucking, whoever you are, Mr. or Miss listening to this, you don't do anything that I say. Because if you do it and you fuck it up, it's all your fault, okay? It's not my fault. I'm just a talking head on the screen, okay? I'm just talking to myself. If you watch this, that's a you problem. I don't even know how you make it this far. So, yeah. So actually, so in this process, we look at all the stocks and stuff. I have a new index to introduce you to. It's called the Prostitute Index. Yep. No. Some people call it the Hooker Index. Some call it the Hookers and Blow Index, depending on their, choice of poison these days. Kids get complicated. But this is a legitimate tool to actually see the amount of derivative of the amount of spending of extracurricular spending that happens in the economy, right? So if people are rich, they're going to spend a lot on hookers, which is represented by our respective RIC hospitality holdings, and otherwise they're not going to do that. Now, the correlation is that when that money goes up, that's when truly the retail starts to spend a lot of money on crypto. Okay, so this is highly correlated in many different ways. Now, it's the rate of change that matters more than the actual stock itself, but it's a signal. So we're adding it to our list. It's been very effective for a lot of people. Watching hookers, I don't know. It's for the job, Mom. No, I'm not the one. Got to do it. Somebody's got to do it, right? And it'll make sense later on when we're actually analyzing stuff through it. Right now, it's telling us. Right now, it's actually signaling to you that even though assets are high flying, everything's crazy, the average person is suffering. The average man is suffering. He does not have enough hookers in his life. Poor little piece of shit. That is what the market is saying. Okay, so the economy is bifurcated from what's happening in the real world. Now, what I wanted to talk about is, okay, well, first of all, let's go and look at the market caps, total market caps. So this is, again, a perspective of crypto pullbacks. And people are asking me, hey, should I be buying it now? Should I be buying it now? I'm like, when you look at it from this perspective, zoomed out weekly perspective, does that look like it's some huge buying opportunity? Not to me. I'm like, if we've waited this many months for this, uptick to happen. So let's say this is on the weekly, this was 4 weeks. So this is a month uptick, 1 week on the side, kind of going to the side. Can we wait a few more weeks for this move to play out fully for it to actually show something, right? Same thing with crypto total market cap. Others, you can see, okay, it may look like it's a huge move right now, and you're like, oh my God, buy the dip, but just zoom out for a second and actually have a broader perspective. It could pull back more, and we just let it. Okay, you're not missing any trains, just sitting there waiting. Same thing with others. Dominance, it popped off a little bit, but it could actually pull down much further, down to this line. Not surprised about that. Now, TON is moving a bit, but I'm still happy to pick it up in these ranges. It's probably going to range a little bit further, I bet. Might even drop a little bit lower. I'm waiting for a Katana to catch to pick up some TON. I think TON is an amazing one to pick up. ETH has done what it's done. A lot of people are taking profits off the top of that. XRP right now. Okay, so let's go to your favorite view. 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 Let me make a song like that. XRP is doing that. It's just trying to climb above this fib. It went above and got knocked down a little bit, but I think it's going to at least $6 ish, $6. In this next move, that's around $5 to $6 is where the target always was to take a decent bit of profits. Because at this point, if we ride it from 50 cents to $6, and that's a 12x, and at that point, taking that 12x, half that 12x, so 6x of that money, and putting it somewhere where it's going to do a 20x. Now we're talking about 120x, and on that amount of half, and that's going to outperform XRP. So that's the kind of mindset behind multiplying the capital gains, the capitals, the gains in the capitals. But it's also, it's a way of thinking about how to benefit from that bifurcation. So XRP on the dollar value, still a good buy. I'm not mad at buying it at these prices. It still has an enormous legs to run. It's going to go past $12. It's going to go to probably like 17 is where I'd put it by the end of this run. XLM, same thing, trying to fight above this fib, bouncing between the ranges. It does what it does. Bounces off the green, so it's at least going to $1. It's going to probably multiple dollars. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to $10 at one point, because these things can do that. Solana, same thing, bouncing around between fibs. Now, look at how beautifully it follows the fibs. I think these algorithms have gotten wise enough that they're not just running on straight lines anymore. They're running on Fibonacci curves, just that in circles. And there's a lot of different modalities of analysis that are coming out that actually fit better than just straight lines. And I think, multi-dimensional compute devices can see that. But Solana, same thing. Cheap enough. Okay. In general, looking good. Now, is it at a massive discount? Yeah. Right now, yeah. Right. It doesn't in log, it doesn't look like it. Right. So it's like, it doesn't look as insane in log, but actually, if you're getting something that was all-time high out at close to $300 and you're getting it for $160, that's a huge discount. Now, am I somebody to pick it up there? No, because we have a bunch of other plays that are very similar. Sui pulling back nicely. We'd already taken profits on the way up to here. I think Sui back to this like 230-ish range. I wouldn't be surprised. There was some negative divergence showing up on it, especially on the weekly. That goes a long way. Near, great pickup. Okay, still a great pickup. Render, a lot of these things haven't changed. Okay, so like they're basically in the same zone. We go render, great pickup. Jupe, wow, what a discount. Pith, ridiculous. You'll beg for this discount back in the day or back in the future. Atom, yes please. Dodd, yes please. Matic, hell yes please. SPX has been a little bananas. SPX, yes please at this point. Am I buying it? Can't say I'm not buying it. Am I buying it in this next pullback? Hell yeah, whatever it goes down to. So even at these kind of zones, like look at the chart on that thing. Look at the ridiculousness on the move. Am I fading that? No, I think it has the ability to do that many times over. Giga, everybody's fading Giga now. Yes, please. I'm happy to pick up some Giga. Whiff, same thing. Yes, please. Happy to pick it up at these prices. We already got it for some ridiculous prices. Trump, I'm not picking it up at these prices because it's pissing me off. It's getting on my nerves. No, Trump, I'd be happy to pick it up at these prices. It's just not gonna. Pocket, came back into the range, looking good. Still a long way to go. Peak looks cheap for sure. I'm happy to pick it up at these prices. We already picked some up at all the way from 12 until this range. Now, the thing that I'm more interested in is, okay, I got a bunch of XRP, right? Imagine I got a bunch of XRP. Imagine I'm top 0.01% holder, 0.001% holder of XRP in the world. Imagine that. Then I can be like, oh my God, Sui is so expensive. All right, what's Sui? I can be like, Sui is so expensive for me to buy. Or I can sit there and go, wait a minute, I have XRP. So then why can't I just buy it directly with the XRP? And when I look at that chart, the XRP chart, it is cheap, relatively speaking, for sure, because XRP has outperformed. So if I want to swap out of XRP to Sui now, if I believe Sui is going to do better than XRP and I swap out directly, I'm getting an insane discount. Same thing with Near. Look at how cheap Near is. And here, it's like you can do something like a heat worm. This is another kind of perspective to have. Okay? This is saying like, no, it doesn't really work that well with this. You get the idea. Like when it's lower, it's cheaper. When it's higher, it's more expensive. So Near has gone through these waves where it's outperformed Bitcoin in a significant way, or in this case, XRP in a significant way. So do I think it's not going to do that again? No, this thing is going to do that at some point. These things do move in cycles, especially now that XRP's exploded. So buying Near from XRP and buying Sui from XRP right now is cheap. Buying Render from XRP, wow, what a discount. Even though people think it might be expensive. So swapping between these, now imagine I do a 10x on my XRP, and then I take half my, basically my 5x, and then I convert that into something like this where I'm already getting a massive discount priced in XRP. So, I get, in this case, up here, it would have cost me 22 XRP to buy one render. That's crazy. It would have cost me 22 XRP to buy one render. Now it's costing me 1.2 XRP to buy render. Right? So that is an order of magnitude less, or that's how much more do I get? Okay, so let's imagine I have 1 million XRP for argument's sake. So we go 1 million divided by, how was it, 21? Whatever. Let's say, 21. Okay, I'd get 47,619. That's how many render I would get. And now it's like we can get it for 1.2 XRP, right? 1.22. How many can I get then? Angel's number. Okay, minus. You get the idea. So it's like, in this case, initially I would have got 47,617 render, and now I would get 833,000 render. So that's 770,000 extra render that I can buy with my XRP now. Okay, so now imagine that. What's render's price now in dollars? This is why it's so mind-blowing to trade like this. Render's price now is, let's say, $3.46. Okay, so this many times $3.46. Okay, so right now it would be basically 2,883,000 worth of render. Okay. And otherwise, if let's say at some point I had made this move and I had 47,000, what was it? 48,000 render. So this is 2.8 million. This is 166,000. So that is the difference in the assets themselves if you make one of these moves properly. Okay? It's the difference between having $166,000 worth of assets and $2.8 million worth of assets from one move. That's why it's so ridiculous. We're playing a currency game, and the currency pairing is absolutely ridiculous. Now let's do the same thing with Bitcoin-denominated pairs. Let's say we have a bunch of Bitcoin. Is render cheap in Bitcoin? Yeah. So cheap, bub. Historically speaking, it's so cheap. Could it get cheaper? Sure. Is that better? Yeah. Is Rift cheap? Yeah. Peak. Oh my God. Discounts. Deep. Yeah. Sui. SPX. SPX isn't cheap in Bitcoin, but SPX is SPX. Sui. It's not expensive in Bitcoin. Ton. Super cheap in Bitcoin. Look at that. Basically getting launch prices almost. ETH. Just starting to turn around. That's gone a long way. XRP is cheap in Bitcoin. It's average price in Bitcoin. It's not expensive. It's not cheap, but it's buyable. It's a good floor price to set. DOT getting cheaper. I would wait that 1 hour. Atom, getting cheaper. Wait that one out. Solana, relatively cheap. So this way is entering the crypto markets with stuff that's safe. My promise always is, first things, let's make sure we don't just lose the fucking money, and let's multiply the cash. Let's put it somewhere safe, like XRP, like, something that's going to do better than Bitcoin and is going to be a safe place to keep it. Once it multiplies, then take that multiple, leave enough in the original investment so that it still covers everything, so that you're still many multiples higher when XRP goes to $17, $30, whatever it's going to go to. Which there's a big bag. Half that XRP is still sitting there, but the other half of the XRP got taken and put into stuff that was super cheap ahead of time, and you got this kind of multiple, this kind of like 2.8 million versus 166,000 style multiple on the number of assets, and there's arbitrage to do that. Okay, so that is the pro level of this strategy. That is the move that's being made now. That is what's looking to happen now. What that was okay. So this is, I've already done this. Regular pair analysis. Everything's cheap. Could be in a fucking cheap ass. It's gonna get cheaper. Just buy it. Okay. Things have been on discount for a while. Things are still pretty cheap. Just buy them. What I'm waiting for, fish everywhere, are these volatility spikes, or these VIX spikes. Because in this environment, there's not much to do. In this environment, there's things to buy. Could this pop be something like this, where it's the it's the foreshadowing of something more intense? Could be. Or is it just another one of these kind of pops where it just has a pop and then it drops? And see, this was the beginning of the shift of a regime. You could see like there was kind of a sideways chop, and then this pop was kind of the beginning of this upwards move. Could it be that? Yes. Either way, is it beneficial? Yes. Are we going to buy things and run it up into the future? Yes. Why? Because. That's it. The answer is because. Because liquidity, as we say in China, liquidity is going up. All right. Now, these are the VTC charts. What should happen to Bitcoin? It should go up. Is it going up? Not now. But should it? Yep. It should continue to. I mean, it basically is following that trend perfectly, right? Like, you can't fault this thing at this point. Let me make this a little smaller because I'm leaning off to the side anyway. Now, could it be a little bit of a correction lower? Sure, but come on, man. Like, relax. The thing is pretty fucking spot on at this point. And all the rest of this stuff, we just buy the next kind of turbulent dip. Now, there is at some point where it diverges and bifurcates and goes in different directions. At that point, the only thing to do is to buy. There's no other option other than to just buy the next dip, because between then and September, we're expecting insanity. Now, if you've watched this far, hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully all of this has been useful to you. Basically, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer, another month maximum, but probably within the next couple of weeks, we can see more clarity on if this is the end of the move, or if there's more coming. And either way, we buy it all up. Now, if you watch this far, I have a request for you. You know that we do amazing things here at this channel, and it's all hopefully been beneficial to you, and you've made a lot of money. But now we're actually going on a mission to come together to do something amazing in the real world. So there is a video that is going to be released. It's about a family who has a house and their roof is leaking and they don't have the money to repair it. They won't move because there's a holy temple on site that they want to protect. And this is a family that we're really close to, and we want to help them out. So we are starting a drive to raise $5,500 to replace their roof, and we're going to all come together and put a roof over a family's head. And they have a heartfelt story that I would love for you to hear and participate. If you'd like to join, there'll be a link down below to that video. Come along. We've done this kind of fun stuff before, but let's really, put a roof over a family's head and be helpful. And yeah, just send whatever pennies you can. Don't get crazy with it. Don't fuck it up, but just, I would appreciate that. Anyways, the video is going to pop up somewhere around here. As always, take a look. And other than that, hopefully this has been useful. Much love as always. See you guys very soon.